What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Movie Talks, the only podcast you need for movie news, movie reviews, and more. Episode 123. Craziness. We've got a Lawson pick, which you've been sitting on for quite some time. It's almost
Yep.
like, yeah. It's Nosferatu. We've got the newest Wallace and Gromit. I didn't actually see any fingerprints in the clay, but I'm hoping that you did with the noticeable eye that you do for the art house. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm. And then we've got Creature Commando, which is James Gunn's, I want to say, first outing in the DC universe. I know he had a hand in this one because you know how they've taken James Gunn and they're trying to reboot the DC universe like Marvel did.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
I thought he got his brother as well, but I think his brother was already because his brother did the voice of Weasel in the Suicide Squad as well. I think.
okay, but like not in terms of having his hand in the actual straight project, like directing, etc., producing, all that sort of stuff.
James Gunn, yeah, but Sean Gunn, I'm not
Yeah.
sure about. Yeah, I don't really follow any of it, but
No.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's a little bit quiet on the movie news front because it is
Uh,
obviously the new year, but we do have Jason Momoa is now going to be playing the DC villain Lombo in the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie. So obviously,
Lombo.
mm,
How do you spell Lombo?
Lobo,
Oh,
Lobo.
Lobo.
So, visually he looks the part. So he's a bit hit and
Okay.
miss. Yeah. It's a bit of a weird
What the fuck
choice.
is Lobo? He's like a werewolf guy.
Yeah, pretty much. He reminds me of like a vampire-y kind of character. Who was I'm
What's like
trying to think of the Marvel equivalent. I can't
Punisher?
think. Um,
He
not
looks like Punisher, just a little different,
yeah, I
longer
don't know.
hair.
Could be. It's it's kind of weird because he played Aquaman and now he's going to play a villain. I guess the what's his name? The guy that keeps going did the Rebel Moon and stuff. Schneider. They've moved away from Schneider now. James Gunn's coming in and pretty much scrapping that universe and creating his own universe. So
All right.
yeah, you know how they do that. It's called rebooting. They love it.
Sure.
Yep.
I think that DC can do whatever because people just want it to be half decent.
Yeah, I mean, look at they've got so many good heroes as well. Besides
Hmm.
Superman, who's just ridiculous. But like Batman's pretty much their only one that keeps on getting their own movies.
And like consistently good ones.
Yeah. So I don't know. With all their lore, I'm surprised they haven't been able to do like really good ones. Superman continually gets reboots and series and movies. And
It is really interesting that one superhero IP can do so well. Not one IP, sorry, but one like superhero industry, Marvel can do incredible. And then DC, which I mean, from my perspective, someone who doesn't really care about superheroes, they're the same thing. And
yeah,
yet somehow DC does very poorly. Like their movies are crap, very bad, very boring.
yep. I don't know. It is what it is. But we'll
It's
see.
weird.
Who knows? Which means you get to spend more time talking about Nosferatu because you have been sitting on this for a long time.
Yeah, I'm not sure I have heaps to say to be honest,
No,
but I will see. I
because you
often find lots to talk about.
you saw this last night, didn't you?
Last night at the movies, yep,
Yeah,
yep. A
nice.
friend of mine and myself were pretty been waiting for it.
Yeah, up.
She's a big like classic horror movie fan and loves it was interesting to watch it with her because she's read like Bram Stoker's Dracula and has a lot of attachment to the previous like renditions of Nosferatu and Dracula. So I had to ask her afterwards, like, what are some comparisons and stuff? Because this is sort of based on both. It's sort of taking elements of Bram Stoker's Dracula and elements of the Nosferatu lore and sort of creating their own little spin-off of each of them. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so this is obviously a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted a young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. Bom, bom, bom. Which is pretty much Bram Stoker's Dracula, just retold.
Yep.
I'm not sure if what's his name? Willem Dafoe was meant to be
Willem.
like
Yep.
was he meant to be like a parody character? Because he was like hilarious. I don't know if he was meant to be hilarious, but every time he was on, I was laughing at his lines delivery. Like was he
That's one of the things.
ironically
It's one of the things I
funny?
said last night when I finished is I do like when when he comes on set in a movie, comes on scene. I'm taken out a little bit of the movie because he's so eccentric in everything he plays,
Yeah,
and like
he
yeah,
was
he felt a little strange in this universe. I will admit.
he was very counter to everyone else though. Everyone else was like
Mm.
super serious, and then he was on there and he was just like pretty much he reminded me of like the Doc from Back to the Future, where like everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're going back in
Yeah,
time," and he's like, "Ah,"
yeah.
like just very opposite to
He
everyone
even did the
else.
thing that Doc does where when Doc's all frantic, he goes like far camera, near camera in one shot.
Okay.
And like that's that's yeah, he even did that a little bit. But I think that's kind of intentional because he's meant to be this like shunned scientist sort of thing
Mm.
or shunned doctor. Um, so you know, he's a bit strange, he's a bit isolated. People don't take him seriously, so he's become like an isolated scientist doctor guy and yeah, I mean,
He
I think it made sense for the character, but yeah, it did feel a little different compared to everybody else's gothic fucking, especially compared to Lily Rose Depp.
he just seemed like to know everything as well. Like it seemed a little bit convenient that he was like, "I know what this is."
Yeah, but all these movies have someone like that.
Yeah,
All the
no,
Nosferatus and Draculas as well, and all any like horror movie. There's always they go to someone, whether it's someone who's experienced it in the past or someone who had a brother die in a previous. Oh, this guy used to live with them, live in that house, and he knows everything what happened in that house, sort of shit.
yeah.
So
Also, Nicholas Holt, is he like fascinated with vampires? Because he seems to be in a
anything
lot
to
of
do with yeah,
vampires. He's just like, yeah, sign me in.
or zombies, or yeah, because he did Renfield, which is Renfield's like loosely based off of this character anyway. He's always playing the same character.
Yeah,
Um, oh, sorry, this character is kind of based off of the. Have you seen Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I have. I quite like Bram Stoker's
Yeah,
Dracula. I would actually watch
great
Bram
movie.
Stoker's Dracula over this.
Yeah, Bram.
Yeah,
Um, it's it's definitely better, but I still really like this. I heard some people last night shitting on it when afterwards, and I also like listen to a couple of people who I listen to in like podcasts and stuff talk about it, and they're like, "Oh, it's disappointing." I enjoy it. Anyway, let's set up the movie. So, it starts with sort of like back in time, or we don't know how much time has passed, but a young version of Lily Rose Depp's character, and she is playing a woman who I forget her name. Hold on,
Ellen Hunter.
Ellen.
Hutter.
Thank you,
Hutter.
Hutter. Yeah. So Ellen is like a young woman, and she's lonely, and she sort of sends out a prayer to the angels and says, like, I need someone to be with. I need someone to be here. She's reaching out to the angels, and she gets in contact with Nosferatu, Count Orlok, and at that point, the Orlok says, "Swear to me." She's like, "Yep, I swear." And then she like more or less has starts to get pleasured by him, and then strangles her. She has like a seizure, and then she wakes up in the future. And we don't know how much time has passed. I'm guessing like 10 years or so. And she's now married to Thomas Hutter, played by Nicholas Holt. Nicholas Holt is like a real estate agent. It's 1858, I think, Germany. And they're all speaking these like high posh accents, English. But I imagine that it's meant to be like we're seeing it in high posh English, even though they're meant to be the high posh German, rather than showing a whole movie to us in German. Which I would have been fine with as well, but American audiences. Um, so then he goes to his like boss real estate agent, and played by um Simon McBurney. Is that the guy who played? Yeah, yeah. And he's all whacked like this boss is like, oh, you've got to go see this count who lives in Romania, in Transylvania. He doesn't say Transylvania, but he just shows a little map. And you got to go over there, and it's a big fat trek, but he needs you to go there to sign the deeds.
Do you
So,
reckon they're not
okay,
allowed to say Transylvania for like copyright? Like, no, it's too close to the other one.
the real place. Transylvania is a real place.
Yeah, yeah, but like if they're making direct comparisons to like the other one,
No, because they've got licensing. It was even in the credits.
oh, I wonder why they didn't say it then. I'm just like,
Because they don't handheld. I'm glad they didn't.
yeah,
They had showed a little picture. They had showed like a map with Transylvania written on it upside down. I like that better rather than being like, oh, it's Transylvania, Dracula. I'm glad it was a bit more subtle,
yeah.
personally. So he goes there, and it's he gets there, and these like Romani, gypsy people are all fucking weird and spiritual, and don't go to that house, the castle, you'll die, and all that sort of shit. Um, I don't really know if he understood them or not. It was sort of hard to decipher if he could understand them, but I don't think so. He goes to the castle, and when he's there, obviously the spooky stuff happens. But the big sort of plot point is he is given like a contract to sign, and uh, Thomas thinks that he's signing a contract for the house or whatever that he's buying in Germany. And it turns out he's signing away his wife, more or less. Pardon me, Ellen. While this is happening, Ellen's back in Germany, and she's having all these seizures and freaking out, and he's coming, whatever. We also learn at this point that the real estate agent was in fact working for Nosferatu, and sent Nicholas Holt's character there to speak to Orlek, Orlok, about sign the contract for the wife or whatever. Anyway, uh, Nicholas Holt's character escapes, jumping out a window into some water, which afterwards we're looking up as well. And Transylvania is not, it's landlocked. Like, I don't know how he jumped into the ocean when Transylvania is not by the water. But anyway,
Maybe it has a moat.
um,
The castle has a
like
moat.
waves crashing in a moat.
With a
He
generator.
went down a river. We thought the same thing. Maybe it was a river, but I don't know. It feels like a bit of a plot hole. But anyway, what does it matter? Um, and Nicholas Holt's character disappears for a bit. We don't really see him. He wakes up in like a nurse, like a coven, not of witches. What's a covenant of nuns sort of thing?
With a covenant, isn't it?
Um, Covenant, is that the word? Yeah, I'm not sure. I forget. Anyway, Lily Rose Depp's having more and more seizures and stuff, and we get introduced to Willem Dafoe's character, who is like he's a professor doctor who has specialized in the macabre, as they say, and is all about curses and otherworldly beings and whatever. And he seems to know a bit about Nosferatu. Um, he's like, this woman is possessed by something, we don't know what yet, whatever. So then jump forward a little bit. Nosferatu's on a boat, which also I don't know how he got on that boat, or like who put him on the boat, but he got on a boat inside a box. Is being shipped to Germany, and the whole time Lily Rose Depp's character is like, he's coming, and the real estate agent boss is like going crazy and eating the heads off pigeons and shit, and is like being incarcerated. Uh, Eventually, Nosferatu reaches Count Orlok reaches Germany. Thomas Hutter also reaches Germany, and from then on, Lily Rose Depp's character is back to normal, but she's like, he's here and he's going to come for me and whatever. And then he brings the plague. I also found out that Nosferatu is the name of the plague, not the name of the person.
Hmm. Also,
Um,
there is a river next to the real Dracula's castle, but
yeah, River. But there was
Yeah, but
waves crashing in it. I was like, that's a bit
yeah, but like the jump from the window is about like 150 meters. So I don't know. He's got like
sure.
a fair vertical leap on him.
Yeah, oh for sure.
Yeah. Unless he was on a bridge. Apparently there is a bridge going across it, but it doesn't, the river
Right,
does not look deep.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's not a big deal. It didn't make me upset.
Like it did.
This is one of those things I noticed afterwards when we were talking about it. I was like, anyway.
Hmm.
I'll cut to the chase at the end. So Willem Dafoe and Lily Rose Depp more or less come to realization that she needs to be the one to end him. So while Willem Dafoe and Nicholas Hoult and this other doctor go to like put a stake in the heart of where he's sleeping at his house at his new house or whatever, um, she lures Nosferatu or lures Count Orlok to her house and she swears fealty to him and she sleeps with this fucking grotesque vampire. Um, and through the power of Puss, he can't leave and he stays there, keeps drinking her blood. And then the sun rises and we finally see him in all his glory and the sun destroys him. She gets too much blood drank. She dies. Count Orlok dies. The plague is over and then it ends.
Yeah.
But uh, yeah, that was a lot of talking. You give me some thoughts. Where are you at?
I found this incredibly slow. So
Sure.
I really liked Robert Eggers' The Northman, which started slow and then really built into like a massive like vengeance kind of story, grand battles, like
Yeah.
Viking-esque. But
Yep.
this one I found really slow. Like I was like, this isn't really presenting anything new to me that Dracula has not already done, besides an extra like darker two
Hmm.
what, 2 hour film. I was like, okay, like it looks quite good. I just found it
Stunning.
really, really slow. Like it was
Okay.
just nothing in there. It felt almost more of like a demon possession film rather than a Dracula
Yes.
vampire film, which was, I don't know if that was intentional, but it felt more like I kept making references to like Exorcist, where it was like you're possessed on a bed, and it's
Hmm.
like, oh, okay, cool.
And that's
This
where
is
the Nosferatu lore comes in, because that's where the Bram Stoker's Dracula is left behind a little bit. It goes more about Nosferatu's story with the whole possession and yeah. But yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I think watching it in the movies helped because I don't know. Even the parts that were slower or the parts that I didn't like as much, which I will get to, um, the sound design and the imagery is incredible. So there was enough for me to still, even when the story wasn't progressing that much, I was still like super wrapped into it in terms of the like filmmaking.
yeah, yeah, like
Um,
visually, cinematography, really, really good.
it's
Just
gorgeous. The lighting is
yeah,
insane.
just storytelling. I feel like they could have done something a little bit different, just a little bit more
Hmm.
Dracula than
Dracula,
than
Dracula.
than like possession. I was like, okay, because like when actual Nosferatu, Dracula, whatever you want to call him, was actually on screen, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like he looked like he skipped leg day, but it was like
Yeah,
he
not
looked
Moustache Day though.
no, like
His moustache was glorious.
he looked pretty creepy, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Like I would have liked to see him more of a. I see Dracula as like a powerhouse of like I control you, you do what I say, I'll whatever. I just need
Yeah,
minions to be
yeah,
able to like go out and do bits and pieces. I don't know. I was just it felt like he wasn't as
but it's
like
not Dracula. It's important to remember.
yeah, should have been Dracula.
Nah, I'm okay with that. I think that the only part of him I didn't like was his moustache. I felt like the moustache felt really strange. Like it felt really left field. I don't know. It didn't suit the character to me.
But you can't see
Like
himself
why
in a
would
mirror
he?
though. So it's just going to
Yeah,
grow out.
like how's his mustache so well kept and like it compared to the rest of his like grotesque fucking warty body and like misshapen whatever. I was very surprised they had this beautiful Freddie Mercury mustache. Um,
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know. I thought he was great. I think Bill Skarsgård did an incredible job. Unrecognizable. The prosthetics and the whatever is incredible on him. It looks fantastic.
yeah.
I liked his presence on screen. I felt like he was intimidating. His voice was so good. Again, the
Yeah.
sound design is great. Um, yeah, I don't see that, but that's fair. I think that's a fair criticism still.
Yeah. Like, if I was going to watch I don't know, one of these types of films, I'd probably just go back to Dracula, like the OG.
Bram
Like,
Stoker, yeah.
yeah, like
Not the OG, but yeah.
whatever. For me, that's the OG one. That's like the most
Yeah.
recognizable one.
Probably the best one. Yeah.
And I just felt like they kind of tried, but then also didn't really try to like separate themselves from that at the
Mm.
same time. Like I don't know, it was a weird sort of like take on it, but it was
I
like
would also recommend the 1969 Nosferatu. It's
okay,
pretty good. I think it does a better. I think what's partly wrong with this is that they're trying to sort of amalgamate two like classic stories, whereas I think like 1969 Nosferatu does the story better, but visually isn't as insane as this. Like I think a lot of my enjoyment in this was like I said, the cinematography, the lighting, the sound design. The music was decent, but nothing special.
yeah,
Um, I will say I couldn't fucking stand Lily Rose Depp in this.
no,
No, she's a fucking nepo baby who can't really act, overacts everything. The scene where she's standing on the lake talking to the Anna Harding, like Emma Corrin's character, and she's like, oh, I cannot fathom what will happen. Like this fucking overacted theater, like stage kid bullshit. Because she's a nepo baby and no one's told her that she can't act or that she's overacting.
what is she hasn't done a lot.
No.
She's been in 17 things, but nothing like really
Nothing that I've
noteworthy.
seen. This is the first thing I've seen her in, and I'm pretty unimpressed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Also,
well,
like Aaron Taylor Johnson, who obviously is Craven.
mhm.
Um, we've seen his last four movies: Craven, Nosferatu, The Fall Guy, and Bullet Train on this podcast.
Yeah, right.
All his movies he's done since 2021. We've watched on the podcast.
There you go.
He's a friend of the show now.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get his insight into it next time. Just call him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what more would I have to say? I'm not sure. I think I still really enjoyed it, and I really liked. I heard a criticism when we were walking out of the cinema. Maybe we're all my fucking eyes. Someone's like, "Oh, you didn't even get to see the bad guy until the end. Like you never saw him because he's never in the light." That's the fucking point.
Why would
The
he be in
character
the light?
can't. Literally, he's a vampire. He can't be in the light, and is destroyed by the light
Yeah.
or sunlight in particular. Um, yeah, I feel like it's a dumb criticism, and that's what made the reveal like so impactful. That end scene, he looked fucking awesome, and the death was fucking great. Again, the sound design of him like dying, the sort of voice leaving his body, um, and the visuals of the sun like destroying him look fucking so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It had some good things. It just didn't do anything new for me.
Okay,
So yeah. Like I don't know. It was a bit long.
it's pretty long. It's 210 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
What would you give it then?
for me it's a four.
Yeah, right.
I really liked it.
Okay. I might
There, like I said, the elements I didn't like were things like actors and um, maybe just some plotting stuff. But like I said, there's still enough for me to enjoy when those things weren't great. I really enjoyed it. I think it was great. It's a
fair
four
enough.
from me anyway.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm like 2.5. Like I wouldn't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah,
It was
right.
like it was a bit slow. Just go watch the original, like our OG Dracula.
Yeah.
Didn't present anything new. It looked really good. Music was cool. Just nothing, nothing new. I was
All
disappointed.
right. Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
I can't argue with you, but
mm,
I disagree.
yeah, it's fair. Oh well. Oh well. Well then, let's jump straight into our newest one, which is only on Netflix, which is Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance,
hmm
Most Fowl. Boom, boom, boom. So we both really like Wallace and Gromit. It's really cool, and then we've got this is the newest one. It's been quite some time, I think, for a little while. Like I don't think when was the last one out?
Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
Well, the last film they did was Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm talking about Wallace, the last
I
Wallace
don't
and
know.
Gromit. It's been,
Been a while.
because they you often like just play them just because you can. They're nice, fun little adventures.
Yeah.
So, what do we got? We got Wallace and Gromit, the Wrong Trousers, Curse of the Were Rabbit. I reckon that's
Yeah,
the
that'd be the most recent. Yep,
yeah.
yep.
So that was Curse of the Were Rabbit was 2005.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, play stop motion takes a very long time for them to do. So,
100%.
fun.
Not 20 years,
No,
but
it takes a long time.
yeah.
So this is about top dog Gromit springs into action to save his master when Wallace's high-tech invention goes rogue and he's framed for a series of suspicious crimes. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
I felt like I was a little bit lazy with the story because we've seen we've seen this type of thing so often. Like they've
Of course. It's a
they've
kids
seen
movie.
yeah they've seemed to grab this like just standard sort of plot device and then to their credit, they've put the Wallace and Gromit sort of spin on it. It was quite short. I was expecting it slightly longer, but it's only,
Yeah. Hour 20,
yeah. So
including credits.
it was about an hour and 10 that it ran for. So
Yeah.
Wallace he's just inventing things. He creates these gnomes and he's trying to make life easier for himself, creates all these gnomes that do his bidding, like all these mundane tasks. They, for whatever reason, get their own little sentient awareness, kind of like Skynet, and then off they go
Yep.
to cause havoc. I
Well, they get their
actually,
sentient awareness because the bad guy fucking like hacks them and puts them on evil mode.
why would you put evil mode on there?
I
Is
know.
is the
It's a kids
question?
movie.
Yeah,
Had a
but
whole bunch of modes on there when he cycled through them. There was like evil mode and like mischievous and grumpy. It was had all the different names from the like dopey and stuff. All the different dwarves as well were on there.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we also get like obviously your throwbacks. We get to see what's his name, the penguin that they've always got like bits and pieces at where he gets out of jail.
Yeah.
Feathers
Feathers
McGraw.
McGraw.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I
That's
quite
him.
like him. He looks very
Yeah, it's funny.
unintimidating. He comes in, cruises around. I really like the introduction of the gnomes as well, where they were like they did their heist and then they were like putting down the garage and they were just like creepy looking. I was like,
Yeah. I watched it like my wife was playing Baldur's Gate next to me while I was watching it, and she kept like looking past her laptop to to sort of watch it. And a couple scenes, I was like, these things are fucking scary. The scene where Gromit goes into the basement and they're building shit and they're on the scaffolding. He walks in and they're staring at him, and one like moves its head like a little click. That would probably scare me as a child.
yeah, right. You got quite scared as a child though with those things.
Yes.
Yeah. So this they've put the little Wallace and Gromit humor in there. I think they did really well with that.
Yeah.
It moved quite quickly, like it was quite quick with its pacing. Because it is a kids' movie, they were just a bit of slapstick, bit of we'll wrap this up quite conveniently. Like there was just moments where it was like, oh, Wallace can't be the person. He's the higher like good guy of the town. And
Hmm.
then they're like, oh no, no, you you've been not framed, but we're going to arrest you because you've done this.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
like that. The police corruption, but not because they're corrupt, it's because they're lazy, or like that the commissioner was anyway.
yeah. He's and he's just that dopey like laziness where he's like, oh,
Yeah,
I've been guarding a turnip all this time. I
yeah,
like I did like the ending where they were like do this bait and switch. That was kind of cool. Like they kept it nice, kind of wrapped up. They kept it in the same theme.
yeah. It was a pleasant little story. Like
Yeah.
the parts where I was bored, sort of most, not most of Act Two, but a lot of Act Two. Once the Norbots are out in town and they're doing all their jobs and stuff, I was like, oh, this is lost. I lost a little bit of interest in this, but there'd be enough little jokes here and there that would keep bringing back in, all these little fun moments brought me back in. And I got to say, the animation is obviously incredible. Any stop motion I'm going to watch, I'm going to be staring at and looking for little like craftsmanship and what they've used for certain materials and stuff. And yes, you can see fingerprints, definitely.
Yeah.
Less noticeable. I think their skin tone makes it less notable to see, less noticeable than like Chicken Run. But yeah, you can definitely see it in a few of the shots.
Yeah. I didn't actually notice that bit, but it's the attention to detail is crazy. Like there was one scene where I think it was the police commissioner was like
Mm.
looking at himself in the mirror, and I was like, that would have been painful to like s- mold and like actually shoot. It
Yeah, it's
was
impressive.
yeah, and like even when they do close in shots, like the amount of detail they had, even with like the hats, like could you
Mm.
imagine trying to like
Oh yeah.
design the police hat with a close up shot where
Oh yeah.
every square like the British police like dot dot thing on their hats. I was like, that's
Hmm.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
I
was
think
cool.
that I actually noticed some 3D printing lines in a couple of materials, but I said to my wife, like, I don't know if I'm annoyed that I can see that some things are 3D printed or if I think it's great because I like seeing I like seeing that it's a real material that these are, I like even seeing how things are made in this. So I didn't mind that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought
Yeah,
an hour and
I
10,
didn't.
it went pretty quick. Pacing was
It did.
okay. It did unfortunately have your generic sort of plot devices, but whatever. Like it's at the end of the day, it's not made for just adults. It's made for a family viewing, I guess, or
Yeah.
all ages. So
And again, there's a certain magic to it.
yeah,
Like I'm not going to get mad at it's short. So I'm not going to get mad at, a little bit over an hour of watching just very fast-paced shit happening on a screen. Um, like you said, the story isn't anything groundbreaking, interest, and like, wow, this is so interesting. Hopefully they're doing this. But it's fine. Like it's fun, it's cute. Um, there's even a moment at the end where we think Gromit's gonna die. Um, and is saved by Norbots, Norbots, the gnome robots.
yeah.
And it's sweet. It's a little like, oh, look at that, they're cute. Like, bring them back.
I laughed with the machine that all of a sudden turned them off or like reset them. I was like, that's so dumb.
Yeah, the boot shooting machine. Yeah, yeah. They're
It's like
like boomerang boots come back, and
it's like you're not even shooting them correctly, but whatever. And he's like,
but that's why
not
that's why it's so fun because there's no fucking rules. And like Wallace is the definition of like high intelligence, low wisdom. Like he's honestly so oblivious to the world, but he's obviously smart enough to create these machines.
yeah.
Uh, but that's something I've always liked with Wallace and Gromit. It's just like, wow, look at that machine they've invented, and there's no rules to it. It's like it makes no sense, but it's that's why it's so fun. It's just there's certain magic to it.
He reminds me of like a happier Pickleton.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Pilkington,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. That's what he reminds me
just
of
oblivious to the
consistently.
world,
Yeah.
yeah.
God, that
And
guy's funny.
I did laugh at a movie about stop motion, or not about stop motion, a movie using stop motion, going against the grain of CG and computer animation, is talking about like the commentary is like unchecked artificial intelligence. So like, you know, sort of ironic, or I'm not sure if it's intentional, but
Yeah.
um, yeah, a nice little thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm not sure what else to say really. It's pretty pleasant.
It's pretty
I'm not
tidy.
sure. Did you watch it with your kids?
No, because I had to
I'm
just get it
curious to know what
done.
kids would think. Yeah, fair.
They like the other one, so I'm sure they'll like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's got humor in it. It's got everything you need in it. It's short. The attention span's there. Like for me, it was like a 3.5. Like I didn't really have anything
Yep. It's a
overly
three for me.
overly wrong with
One thing I
it.
will say that did make me go, oh, that's annoying, is just they used CGI a little bit. Like they used when the water was splashing, they obviously filmed real water and then used like a green screen to put it in. There's a couple times where they shot like the submarine um coming out of the water was running down it, and that was filmed with an actual film camera, and they just slowed down the shutter rate to make it look like stop motion. Um, that to me is a little lazy. Not lazy. I like when water. Like they obviously care more about water looking like water than they do using stop motion, which is fine because people care about water looking like water. But I would rather it be stop motion and the whole thing be actually done in photos. But small critique. I
Yep.
still think it's very entertaining. For me, it's a three.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, Creature Commandos. We are jumping into some superheroes. So James Gunn is the creator of this one. I was a little bit concerned that this was just going to be Suicide Squad again, but I think it
Kind of
does.
is.
It kind of is, but it also sort of separates itself as well,
Yeah,
which is
sort
it.
of.
It does. It's not as like just your standard Suicide Squad. But it also is at the same time, I believe they call themselves Task Force X or whatever it's called, which this is meant to take place straight after Peacekeeper. I actually haven't seen Peacekeeper. I've heard really
No,
good
me
things
either.
about it. Um,
Yeah.
John Cena, the man that cannot be seen.
Yep.
He's the Peacemaker. I do want to watch that. I'll probably watch that. Probably download it and watch it on the plane. So this is follows a group of military superhumans comprised of a human leader, a werewolf, a vampire, Frankenstein's monster, and a gorgon. So
And
it's
what?
a gorgon?
Yeah,
A
right.
gor
Whatever. What's a gorgon?
I don't know. It's I don't know. I've heard the term, but I cannot recall exactly what it is.
Gorgons are a race of monstrous sisters with the power to turn people who look into the stone, like Medusa is a gorgon.
Oh,
Which character's a gorgon in this?
I don't know. I don't think we saw.
Maybe they're calling looking at, yeah, I'm guessing they mean the fish lady is a gorgon.
Okay. She does
Okay.
not she does not turn anyone into stone.
No, I don't know where that word comes from. Anyway.
Weird. So we've got Rick Flag, who's our leader. He's our, I guess, soldier guy that's going to lead the crew. He's been tasked with protecting the princess, and he has to recruit a team. So the team ends up being just all these superhuman monster-esque people that are all in prison. They're fitted with a shock collar, and then they have to try and work together to save the princess. There's a little bit of twists and turns where it's leading into a little bit interesting category, well, realm, but it's also kind of like standard in terms of they are
hmm
treated to you need to go save this princess. Turns out the villain that they're fighting is clairvoyant and is able to see the future. And it turns
Yep.
out the princess, if not killed, is going to cause an uprising and kill all of. We see the Justice League all on pikes and all hanging there. And then
Ah, okay. I didn't even pick that up. Yep.
yeah, so that in that vision you saw Superman, Wonder Woman, and I believe Batman on pikes.
Ah, sure. Didn't
Yeah,
even realize. Yep.
yeah, it was quick, but I was like, oh, that's the Justice League there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I also found each episode, I was like, oh, I kind of hope that you're not going to give me a backstory in each one, but I think it actually did pretty well. Like, it wasn't a full
Yeah.
episode each time giving me the backstory of it. It was like it was told to help that person's like character development. It wasn't just like,
Yeah.
here's the episode, here's the backstory, here's this. It was actually cut and sliced quite well, I thought. Like
Yep.
I quite
It
enjoyed it.
reminds me in that way, the pacing of how they do Orange is the New Black, where especially early seasons where it's decent. where there's a lot of like modern day story happening. We're getting enough progressing in the actual story, and then we get little tidbits of like the backstory enough where we can put things together and do it well as well, where it like leads to a joke at the end or leads to like a character defining moment. Um, yeah, episode 3 was an especially high standout for me.
Three, which one? Whose
That
was
is
that
the
one?
backstory of GI Robot.
Oh yeah, GI Robot was cool. I quite liked him.
Fucking so funny. I
Yeah.
was in hysterics multiple scenes.
Yeah. So
Nazis.
the first episode is your general like setup episode where you they get introduced to the team and then also the princess. Episode 2, you actually get a little bit of progression. We get introduced to the baddie where they have a big fight.
hmm
Um, uh,
Cersei, who
Cersei,
I'd never heard of. I'd look her up. She looks like Scarlet Witch. I thought it was Scarlet Witch, and then I forgot that Scarlet Witch is Marvel.
Marvel, yeah. So Marvel and DC generally like to copy each other. If they have a hero that sort of works, they generally copy. The comparisons are pretty crazy in terms of you see it like at the moment, Marvel Rivals is kicking off. It's just pretty much the most played game. And then they're like, if DC start their own game, these are the characters they could have. But whatever, like it's
So it's a very large dollar entry to get into the video game industry. So
yeah, but I'm just the comparisons that they make in terms of
yeah,
characters are
of
like
course,
very, very close to each other.
of course.
Yeah. So we got Rick, who is you just your human who's leading the crew. He's
Yep.
your soldier veteran kind of guy who has a sort of like a fling with the princess. The princess is very like forward and demanding because she likes older guys. I
Yep.
laughed quite a lot when they were like stalling the guard
Yeah. Yeah.
in front of the. So it's like this knew its target audience. Target audience wasn't kids. This was a quite adult
No.
animation,
Yes.
which I think definitely helped it. Like the downfall of a lot of the Sony superhero stuff is that its target audience. It was trying to be like, here's everybody
Family.
you can come in. But
Yeah.
like, look at the success of Deadpool. Deadpool knew its target
Oh yeah.
audience and it hit it well. This,
Yep.
I think it did quite well. Like, you wouldn't have the same effect if it was like, I don't know, silhouettes fighting or it was like cut to
hmm
black when those sort of
hmm
things happen, which sometimes do happen. Uh,
But
we've got,
that's what made Suicide Squad, the 2021 version, so great. Is it was like MA, maybe even R. No, it would have been MA, Australian MA, American R, and it's fucking great because they just went balls to the wall, ridiculous with the characters and with the jokes and with the violence. And I think that lends itself to the chaos that's meant to be Suicide Squad.
definitely.
We don't talk about 2016 Suicide Squad doesn't exist.
That was shocking. That's what I was concerned this was going to be, but I think each of the characters are actually unique and actually have character development, which is nice. Like they're not just your standard, here they are, throw them in, and they just want to cause
Yep.
havoc for reasons. But like we have
Yep.
the bride, who I would say is, I don't know, the co-leader because
Yeah.
she pretty much commands it. She is Frankenstein's bride, which I was a little bit shocked that they brought in like Frankenstein. And like
Yeah.
Frankenstein was a kind of, would you call him like a grey or anti-hero kind of?
Yeah, he's becoming a bit of a villain because he's like hunting down characters, and I'm assuming he's gonna like join them soon. It's David Harbour as well, which is I didn't expect him to be voicing a fucking Frankenstein monster, but anyway.
No. And you actually get like the backstory for why Frankenstein is, well, going about his rampage and the bride,
hmm
well, she's not interested in him. It's like
hmm
she was brought and created in the world and like trained up. It reminded me a little bit of what was the movie with Emma Stone where she's created
All
and has
things.
gone poor things. They reminded me a
Yeah.
little bit of that, like same kind of
Yep.
story.
Yep.
You've got the Nazi robot. Can't remember what his name is, top of my head.
GI robot.
GI robot. His
Yep.
backstory is really cool. I found
Hilarious.
found him very interesting, where he was created
Yeah.
just to obviously kill Nazis, and he
Yeah.
was like formed a I don't know a mateship with his crew.
Yep. Yep. Three cheers to the Tin Man.
Yeah, and just as he's going, like he's at that conference or whatever, and he's like Nazis, and it just
Yeah.
goes
Because
nuts.
he gets bought by by a war aficionado collector who turns out to be a white supremacist, like a modern day white supremacist. And he goes to like the meeting and he's like, gets introduced to them all as like, oh, these are some other men who are fighting for a better America. And then he gets there and opens up the curtain and it's the fucking like swastika behind him and he's like, ah, Nazis. And just sprays them all with bullets and the animation of like bullets shredding people, it looks incredible. Like
Mm,
it's very good. It's
yeah,
very satisfying to watch the like you know me, I don't love fucking action movies and shit, and it all just feels like or every time there's a fight scene, I roll my eyes and stop watching because it's every fight scene feels the same. This is really unique. I love the violence in this. It's really entertaining.
yeah.
Hmm.
This the humor in this reminded me a lot of the original Guardians of the Galaxy. Like
Okay,
it was like that fun sort of humor as well. Like you have
sure.
action, you have the story progression, and like this is what James Gunn does. Like
Yeah, yeah.
he does it quite well. Even like
Hmm.
the squirrel or the monster, the one behind me here,
Weasel.
Weasel.
Yeah, he's great.
I just assumed he was just going to be your radioactive monster that was just like
Hmm.
out there just
Tearing
to
shit up.
yeah eat and tear things up. But he's actually like
Hmm.
has a backstory where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like he's not the monster you thought he was. Like he's actually
Uh-huh.
like I was like, wow, okay, you're selling me on the characters and like
Yeah, episode four is like tragic, like
mm,
heart wrenching. His backstory, and it's interesting. I always, we watched three. I watched three, and episode three was the GI Robot episode. I laughed so hard and it was so entertained. I was like, nah, I've got to watch a fourth. And then I watched the fourth, and I was heartbroken. I was like, oh, I kind of wish I just watched three,
yeah,
but it's good. It is good. They can hit so many different tones
yeah.
in a dumb, action cartoon.
Yeah, and then I've watched five, so I've watched episode five. Episode five
Yep.
gives you more of Frankenstein. So
Okay.
there's interaction with Frankenstein, which is really cool as well. Gives you an insight to him.
Right.
I
Hmm.
really enjoyed that. But like it was really fun. So there is
Yeah.
seven episodes in the
Seven.
first series, and then there is a season two as well. So that's gonna be
Yeah, good.
it's gonna be fun. Makes me want to watch Peacekeeper now as well to understand
Yeah.
where that's coming. Like I've heard good things about it. I just haven't got around to
Hmm.
watching it because in Australia it was released on. It was real weird. It was I think it was binge only. And
Yeah. Or was it Paramount? Was it Binge? I can't
I was
remember.
binge because it
Was it
was
Binge? Sure.
HBO.
HBO. Yeah.
And like we have so many streaming services here. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like we have Netflix, Disney, Stan, and then you have to go Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
Paramount, and then all of those. And then we've got Binge, which is Foxtel's like streaming service, which the only upside to that is pretty much your HBO stuff.
Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah, so I was
It'll
like,
just get so expensive to have everything.
oh, it's
I was paying like $80 a month, which is more than I ever spent on Foxtel
yeah,
across all the different services. But you didn't realize that's how they get you. You just add more and more and more, and all of a sudden you got all these ones built up. You're like, wow, paying a
yep,
lot of money for this bullshit.
yep. And I was like, I'm not even using all of these.
Yeah.
But like, I really enjoyed this. I think they had the right blend between heartfelt
Hmm.
moments, humor, story progression. Like, there was
Yep,
no
damn
points
right.
in this that I was actually like bored. Like, it was 22-minute
No.
episodes, and away they went. They didn't waste time with like big intros. It was they gave you backstory. It was sliced well. It was all edited. Animation was
Hmm.
fun. I think they got the rating. They got the target audience. I had a great time.
Yeah, episode one was the one episode for me. I was like, I'm not loving this. It felt fine, but the action scenes weren't that interesting with the fight with the bride versus Cersei at the end. I didn't give a shit about the characters by episode one, so when the bride was off doing her thing, I didn't really care too much about what was happening. Um, but then yeah, they start introducing more characters, and characters feel like there's more depth. Initially, they feel very surface level, and I was kind of over. I didn't really feel like I was attached to any of them. But over time, you spend more time with them, and they're great. Even like you said, the weasel, who's just a mindless fucking rabid dog running around going ape shit. Even he has a story I care about now and want him to be successful.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's oddly endearing for just a mindless cartoon action show. Like all the characters feel quite special. I'm looking forward to knowing more about the fish girl, whose name I always forget. Nina.
Yeah. Yeah, she just seems like she's unfortunately in the wrong place at the wrong time and a victim
Mm.
of her circumstances, really.
But I'm hoping that because the other characters look dangerous but have quite a soft backstory or like a misunderstood backstory. I'm hoping that because she presents soft, she has a really violent backstory and she actually is like a monster and lashed out and killed a bunch of people. That'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, that'd
But we'll
be,
see.
we'll see.
It reminded me
Yeah.
a lot of Suicide Squad 2021,
Oh, definitely.
not in a bad way. Like, and which I know reminds everyone of Guardians of the Galaxy, is what they're going for. But like, I really enjoyed 2021 Suicide Squad. I gave it a four.
Hmm.
Um, this is the same for me. Like, it's just as entertaining. It's just as fun. I want to watch more of it, which is obviously saying a lot because we watch so much stuff that if I want to keep watching something, it must be good. It's fun as hell, and that's all it needs to be.
Yep. Yeah, I had a great time. It's definitely four for me as well.
Yeah,
Like it was great. Definitely
that we
recommend
agreed on
it.
something this week.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, next week we are staying in the DC universe and we're going to finally watch the Penguin, which apparently is quite a dark retelling of Penguin's story. Everyone,
Yeah.
everyone I've heard has said really good things, so I'm excited
Hmm.
to actually finally spend some time to watch it. Then
Yep.
we're gonna
Yep.
go and watch Nicole Kidman's newest one, which is a Baby Doll. Baby Girl? Baby Girl.
Baby girl.
Baby Girl. I wrote doll. I don't
Wait,
know
baby
why.
girl.
I don't know.
Now I'm unsure.
I mean, it made the news just because, I don't know, it was something about she needed to leave set because she couldn't stop coming or something or other,
Oh
having
no, I can't
orgasms.
stop. I can't stop seeing shit on fucking Facebook about it. Like new clickbait news stories about her having orgasms on set.
I mean,
Calm down. Get over it.
sex sells, I guess. So,
I know. Clickbait.
yeah. And then we've got uh, Crunk on Life. So we really enjoyed
Mm.
I can't remember what the other one was called.
Kunk on Earth.
Crunk on Earth. Yeah. So
Hmm.
that was really fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Hopefully, I wonder if she's recognizable enough now that they cotton onto it.
Yeah, I've seen people put out videos or people like on TikTok and stuff who've been interviewed and have said like, look, we sort of knew it was a comedy going into it, and they're told to sort of play into it a little bit, but they uh they're definitely not prepared at all for her
Okay.
questioning and stuff.
Yeah. Because it reminds me of like Borat. Obviously, then Borat got
Hmm.
massive, and then he had to
Yes,
change his character to Bruno.
Bruno.
Yeah, which wasn't as good, but I
No.
still enjoyed it. And then even like those what are they called? Impractical Jokers. Like
Yeah,
I see them and I really enjoy their jokes and their humor and stuff. But it's like, is there a point where you get so big? Like, how do these people not know?
recognize you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there has to be
I get
some.
so sick of that. Impractical Jokers, I find funny. I watch one video, entertain. I know people watch like seasons after seasons of that. There are so many episodes, and it just feels like the same thing over and over again.
I watch it quite often.
Nah, I don't find it funny.
It's
It's
just
very American.
yeah, it's still funny. There's the Australian one as well. It's a
Hmm.
similar name. It's like unemployed practical jokers or something or other.
Yeah,
It's pretty funny. It's just Australian version of that.
sure.
Yeah.
Nah, don't care.
Okay. I've always liked it. There was always
That's fair. You're allowed to.
on the comedy channel, there used to be Just for Laughs. I'm pretty sure it was like a
Yeah,
Swedish show or whatever.
it's great.
And that was the same thing over and over again. It was just
Yeah, yeah, it
like
was.
there wasn't any like talking or anything. It was just like
Hmm.
whatever. Dad and I
And they were
used to
good
watch it
because
and just
they were like when I think of like pranks and like a good prank show, that was like peak prank show because it was all so low level. No one was there was no victims. It was all just haha, you've been pranked. It wasn't like ruining people's day and stuff and like wedding people and shit like that. Which I know in Practical Jokers is the same, but Practical Jokers just it's the same premise. I don't know. I
yeah.
haven't seen Just for Laughs in a long time either.
No, I wonder.
I saw it when I was a kid and a teenager.
I wonder if it holds up. Who knows? I don't
Yeah,
even know
should
where
give it a
you.
shot.
I don't know where you get it anymore because I don't know that it would still be running.
It's true.
I don't know. YouTube, I guess.
Probably, yeah, it would be heaps on YouTube, like compilations and stuff,
Yeah.
probably.
So who knows? But yeah.
Yeah.
Big show next week. Big show
Yeah.
this week. Yeah. Get keen.
It'll be a little delayed next week as well. But
Yeah.
don't worry, we'll
That's
get it to you.
that's on me. We're going on a family holiday. So
Hell yeah.
huge year. All right, everybody. You know what to do. You listen on Spotify, listen on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you give us a 5-star rating and listen on YouTube. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. Tell them all.
Tell your friends.
We'll see you guys next time. Boys.
Love yous.